I wanted to start, Michael, with asking how long have you been working on the Grammy show? It's been a while, hasn't it?
This is my 30th year.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, I've done what I do currently as audio coordinator for about 17 years. And prior to that, I was the monitor mixer back in the day when there was a single monitor mixer and a single individual mixing monitors. Now there's 6 guys, 3 each stage, plus stagehands that mix the monitors for our A/B stages. So I started at the bottom of, so to speak, the food chain in audio, and worked my way up to this.
Mm-hmm. And you've been doing this for 17 years, you said, which is quite remarkable.
Yeah.
So how has the technology, the audio technology in particular, technical aspects of the audio changed over those 30 years?
Well, back in the day, it was strictly analog. We're now into all types of data protocol, MADI, AES, fiber. The show still roughly is analog. It goes into an analog split, and it's delivered and distributed to the various head amps, the music mix head amps for M3, which are Grace preamps, the production video truck, Denali Summit, which uses the Hydra Apollo Calrec platform, and then our monitor mix on each stage, A/B stage, our front of house music mix, and our front of house production mix. Those are all Digico consoles, and they split into. I believe the front of house uses provides the head amp control for the vocal mics and the production mics, and the split stages A and B provide the head amp control for all the instrumentation, respectively.
Mm-hmm. It's a gigantic undertaking. I've got a few specs here that there's 3. You're using 3 megawatts of power, 2 megawatts for the lighting and 1 for the tech. I think I saw something on the order of 400 microphones or something like that. I mean, it's massive.
It's a pretty big undertaking annually. There's a lot of shows, the Country Music Awards, the Academy Awards, the Tonys. In terms of sheer music, broad interest, I think the Grammys is probably the biggest of its type. Mm-hmm. It's a challenge. There's 60 people, 60 engineers, 60 techs on the show devoted to audio. And the blessing is that it's the same crew for the most part, at least for me, plus minus a few people for the past 17 years. Mm. And all these folks, year round work on a lot of musical shows. So their specialty is music. So what we try to do is we go in the first day of ESU, which is the everybody sets up period. 5 days before the show, we go into a large meeting, and I download what I've been doing for the past 3 weeks, information with stage plots, input list, mics assigned, and the rundown. And we go through the entire show, sequencing how we're doing segues from one performance with an intro into another performance. And there's a lot of thought of given which stage is assigned what. We have a third stage that we use a lot nowadays called the dish, that we call the dish, which is a type of a bridge stage for performances so that we can be setting up the A and B stages during these performances.
Well, I think it's really interesting that you have 2 actual stages on the main stage that can be set and struck separately, and while one group is performing on one of them, you can be setting up the next one, and back and forth and so on. And then you have this third one, which is kind of a circular stage, kind of out in the middle of the audience, which is really quite interesting. I wanted to ask you about how long it takes to prepare for the show, and you just started to talk about that. But I'm also interested in, sort of how you get things in and out, the rehearsals and all that stuff. I took some pictures backstage when I was there last week, the week before last, For example, I have one of underneath the stage, which it indicates, you know, just how much of a rabbit warren it is down there. Look at that. I mean, you got cables running everywhere. You got people under there doing all sorts of things. I mean, this is underneath the actual stage. Right over the head is where the performances are taking place. So I just would love to hear your sense of or your description of kind of how things go during this week of preparation. I mean, it takes at least a week to set it up, right? To actually build all the stuff.
Yeah, we have our first day on site, which was last Monday, and that's the install after they've been rigging all the lighting and scenic elements. Couple days before, 3 days before that, if you walked into the arena, it looked like a chain forest. You couldn't see the bleachers behind all the chains. I don't want to. I think there's 400 chain motors, half-ton motors that hang all the elements for scenic lighting and sound. We come in on last Monday. We did a pre-hang. I started getting my ducks in a row in my office. The next day, we do what is known as a pre-cable. And there's a molt schedule that's given to the 3 A2s and 4 local 33 stagehands. And they run all the cables between all the different mix positions that they're responsible for. And then Audio Tech, our sound vendor, they also have cables that they run between all their mix positions. With the advent of the Digico being used, a lot of those multi-pairs that we used to run are now fiber and coax cables. It really... It speeds up the process. It doesn't mean we need less time. It just the data management, is I keep referring to, is made easier by these runs.